chair.
Eventually. One of these days you'll get it.
It's a giant's chair.
Yes, it is.
Can't maneuver it.
That's why I got a good review from me.
Yeah. I can't even touch the floor.
And we are live. Welcome to Talking Heads, everybody. Episode 123. Your once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm Rhett.
Coronavirus. We're all going to die.
Yep.
Or something like that.
Stock up on silver and ammo, folks.
Welcome to the show, everybody. As I explained last week, YouTube's been demonetizing a lot of coronavirus videos if you even mention it on the show or have it in your video description or have it in your title. I'm not going to shy away from talking about it because it is a major talking point right now. As such, this video will not be monetized throughout the show. You want to toss me a couple of bucks? Definitely would appreciate it. Starting with Big Spoon, $5 donation. Congrats on 115,000 subs. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Should be a super good show today. We are going to talk about coronavirus pretty extensively as far as events in both gaming, tech, and entertainment, because a lot of news dropped within the last 2 or 3 hours. That'll be towards the end of the show. We're going to catch you up on what events are canceled, what events are still going on, because it is a very fluid situation. If you've never seen the show before, we do drink on this show. However, we try to keep content as family-friendly as possible. Also, language as family-friendly as possible. If you send a super chat, we will read that out on air, so long as it's something I'm comfortable repeating. And we usually start with about 20 minutes or so worth of beer and alcohol-related news. We move into a little over an hour's worth of tech news, and then typically we end with games and entertainment or pop culture, whatever interests us. Today it's going to be pretty much like the coronavirus half hour, because there's a lot to talk about here. Yeah. Anyway, Rhett, welcome back.
Thank you.
What are we drinking?
Well, I brought Rogue Outta line here, and you'll notice that there are 2 missing. And that's because I only drank 2.
That's right.
I got to admit, my first impressions weren't the best, so I wanted to bring it to somebody who appreciates Rogue and see what you thought, and maybe I could find a new appreciation for it.
Awesome. I had the first batch off the line of this right around a year ago. Rogue actually sent it direct to me as kind of a little promotional deal. And I thought it was pretty solid. I'm curious to see if they've tweaked the recipe at all.
Yeah.
Because I definitely have my own impressions of it. I really enjoyed it, but I wonder how well it's or how it's evolved, right?
Right. Because
beers rarely stay the same, especially from first batch to the third or fourth.
Yeah.
There's always little tweaks here and there. Anyway, I also brought Fort George Magnanimous IPA. I've had this on camera before, but actually none of you have seen it unless you watched eTechnics videos, because I did a short bit on his favorite things of the year of 2019 video, and I had a Magnanimous IPA on there. This is a Christmas IPA, and it tastes like a ground-up Christmas tree. It's nice. It's wonderful.
I'm down.
So why no Corona beer? I think the reason should be obvious. Not because I think I'll get sick. It just sucks.
Whoa.
I stand by my statement. It is not good beer. I have never opened a Corona and go, wow, that's not skunky.
Well, yeah, some beers are supposed to be skunky.
No.
Yeah, Heineken. Heineken's supposed to be skunky.
Oh, Lord.
Doesn't mean that it's for everybody.
Yep.
I like how I'm the guy who's like, cheap beers are fine.
You're fine.
I'm the one person.
Yeah. I do appreciate a cheap malted beverage occasionally. I'm one who likes a Mike's Hard Lemonade or Smirnoff, or I do, if
Foster's. Oldie?
No, not quite that far. Not quite that far.
Hurricane, all the way. Okay.
Ooh, yeah. You know it. Not Natty Fruit Punch. God, that was horrible. Anyway, let's go ahead and crack one open. You want to start with the Outta line?
Let's do it.
All right.
And let the English see us do it.
Is this your first time?
That one's yours because it's shaken up a whole bunch. Glad I didn't actually shake it up all that much. Also, you guys are going to see me making weird faces because I'm trying to practice not touching my face.
Yeah. I already failed at that.
Oh, God, me too. But it's never too early or too late to start practicing. So, while I got a camera in my face, I'm gonna practice because I am my best self.
Yep.
When I'm.
I have actually reposted a couple different videos that people have taken on Twitter of like what I'm doing, trying not to touch my face, and it's all people going.
Yeah, it's. You don't think about how often you touch your face.
And I'm a constant face toucher. If I have a pen with me, I'm often chewing on the pen. I'm one of those guys.
I'm a pen.
I'm terrible about that. So.
Yeah.
And also, if you give me a pen or a USB drive,
you're not getting it back.
You're not getting it back. I apologize. I literally cannot help myself. It goes in my pocket when I'm done. It's just habit.
DevDole thinks that there's only one mic on. Do I just need to talk louder?
There are 2 mics on.
I can project.
No, mine's on. His is on.
Oh.
I think you're just a little far
I'm not
away.
looking at it either, so. Hey, now I got a shadow.
Yeah.
Looks like you beat me up.
Told you not to talk about
it. I'm sorry, please. So what's the rule on clinking glasses now?
Well, I haven't drank from this yet.
Okay,
so
here we go. Cheers.
There you go.
Cheers to you all.
Cheers to you all. And if you have a beer that you're drinking or any beverage any kind, it doesn't have to be alcoholic, let me know in the chat right now and we'll try to give some early show shout outs.
Okay, this is better than I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm wondering, because I didn't have this in the fridge, I had it in my garage, so you can tell it's slightly chilled, but it's not completely refrigerated.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm wondering if I just had it too cold before. Maybe there wasn't any flavor.
Quite possibly.
Because this is smooth.
Yeah.
This is really good.
It's very smooth. It's got a very hop-forward flavor profile to it. It's a little bit thicker than you would expect for the ABV, because this is only like
6.6.
Yeah. 6 or 7. It's a much fuller beer than the ABV. That was one of my main remembrances of this beer. But it's not a real complex beer. It's pretty much just hop flavor all the way through. No real maltiness or anything like that, but it's also not danky or grassy. It's just a good, solid West Coast IPA.
Yeah. Yeah, now I feel bad for saying anything negative about it at the start. Not that I necessarily had... not that I ripped it a new one, but I just remember not liking it for some reason. Yeah. But this is great. This is perfect. Yeah. This is what I wanted today.
Good to hear. Skull's drinking a Goose Island Bourbon County Stout 2019 Brand Moncherie Stout. I have not had that one yet. I've been looking for it. We got Resents drinking a pre-workout. Kildee is drinking a Gatorade. Ikixen is drinking a Four Rosa single barrel. My man. Or woman. Wrong of me to assume. Just cracked a bottle of Bretta Rosé Wild Air from Firestone Walker. That's Reverend. Costco Irish Whiskey, Steve Gunnick, thank you. It's way better than I thought. I have a real soft spot for Costco liquors. They're actually really, really solid, especially for the price.
You know what else is pretty solid? Costco beer. Kirkland Light. It's pretty good for the cost, okay, guys?
Maybe we could have John review it because he's drinking nothing but under 100 calories. Ooh, no, even that one's probably out of reach. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I bet you.
Sorry, buddy.
Because most light beers are like over 100 calories, right? Like you're looking at I think Coors Light is like 160 for a can.
Christopher says, thanks for the recommendation for Corvallis Brewing Supply. I think that was 2 weeks ago. Great place. Yeah, that's one of my favorite places to go down in the Corvallis area. They actually do a cellar release party about twice per year. And basically they cellar age hundreds and hundreds of bottles. And once a year they bring everything up from their cellar, they lay it out on the table, and it's all pretty much priced the same as the original retail price. They haven't marked it up at all. It's just something that they do twice a year. So follow them, I believe, on Facebook, and they announce the days that they're going to do that. And it's a one-day only thing.
In fact, John and you did a vlog.
Yes.
one of their...
Yeah, go to my channel and search for Beer Vlog, and you will find me and John going to a Corvallis Brew Supply for their cellar release party.
Yeah.
It was that was a fun time. Alice Asako, 21st Amendment's Fireside Chat. Patrick's got a Kessler's. Paradox is drinking coffee. Let's see. Questionable Commands drinking Mirrored Memories from Rouge, hazy triple IPA. That's right up John's alley.
Albeit Purple Haze.
Yeah, Wesley drinking Albeit Purple. Having a rough tall everything rhymes with Orange IPA. And Resent says Keystone Light is better than Kirkland Light.
Yeah, I mean, I like Keystone.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I know you do.
No, Keystone is not. Everybody knows I only drink Rainier.
But speaking of a beer that I want to find, this one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
That's a good segue. I did not expect that for some reason.
That's what I do.
Well done.
That's what I do.
Well done.
I pour beers with good heads, and I segue into good news stories.
That's true.
All right. And I say all right a lot. So if you're familiar with the craft beer scene at all, you've likely heard of Sam Adams Utopias. They're Utopia's series of beers. What these are beers that have been aged for 25 years in barrels. Every year, they will bring these barrels out. They will put together a new mix and a new flavor profile and release it as Sam Adams Utopia 2020 or 2019 or whatever the year happens to be. This year, their ownership group, which also owns Dogfish Head, has announced a special edition Dogfish Head beer called Worldwide Stout. And it has been aged in those Sam Adams Utopias barrels. I want this. I don't care how much it is. In fact, we actually talked about going four ways into getting a bottle of Sam Adams Utopias. I think these are going to be a lot less expensive because Sam Adams is like $230 for essentially a bomber. It's 750 milliliter. I'm hoping that, a 4-pack might come in for like $30. I would totally buy one. I would absolutely buy one. Or a bomber for, $15 or $18. Absolutely. If I find one, I'm picking one up. Because Sam Adams Utopias are known for being these otherworldly flavors. And by the way, they're also super high ABV at 28%. Right. Now, the Worldwide Stout comes in just a little below that at 18.5. That's the step down.
That's quite a significant step down.
Yes. It's still an 18.5%. I mean, you're a stout competing with meads.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this ain't no light beer. So if you like cutting your beer with the knife, this might be the one for you. And I've certainly been keeping my eye out for it at my various bottle shops that I frequent.
Yeah.
If you happen to be in an area where they sell this, I have a P.O. box down below. I will send beer to you in return. If you happen to find one on the shelf. Like, seriously. If you send me Worldwide Stout, I will send you some Oregon heavy hitters in return. And we've got a lot of them around here.
Sounds so good. My mouth is watering.
Yeah. Maybe like a Saniam Pirate Stout Governor's Reserve or something like that.
So during that story, I got a little distracted because Discord was upset that we didn't read any of their drinking.
There were like 2.
Well,
sorry. Civil says best IPA I've had in a while, but you didn't tell me what it is, so I ignored you. And then Craft Computing doesn't list any from Discord. You haven't listed any in Discord. And if you're in 10 Forward, I'm not seeing it. Okay, so Talking Heads. Oh, see, you're all posting pictures. I can't see the pictures. I'm on a different chat screen. Yeah. So Becky Poo's drinking a coconut macaroons from the brewery. It's a 13% vanilla flavored stout, aged in bourbon barrels with coconut flavor. That sounds amazing.
Looks delicious.
Let's see.
Mercurial silk. That looks amazing.
Trick Logic.
Look at that. Look at that glass.
That's beautiful.
That looks like just a black vase.
Right. That is beautiful. Civil says, best IP I've had in a long time. Sycamore from Mountain Candy. The D's drinking a Tout Le Monde. Megadeth.
Ooh, with sativa drops.
Yeah.
Hey.
Nice.
Legal in Oregon.
There you go. Okay. So I read them. You posted nothing but pictures. Those don't show up in my consolidated chat. Yeah. That's on you.
I thought we missed something for real.
It's totally on
now
you.
You know.
Totally on you.
You've been warned.
That's right.
All right. Well, keeping an eye out for that. We can go ahead and skip this story, clearly.
We totally can. Bud Light is coming out with a lemonade. And there was great celebration. And if John brings one of these on this show...
He's fired.
He's fired. John, you're going to be fired. Either that or you can drink both of them and I will drink like a Bourbon County Stout or something like that.
Yeah.
I think I have 4 of them in my fridge right now. One of them a 2017. Yeah. I've been hoarding those for a while. So, yeah, Bud Light Lemonade. The premium light lager brewed with real lemon peels.
Yeah.
That's the best tagline they could come up with. The premium light lager.
The premium light lager. Bud Light.
Is it in you? Yeah.
Lemonade. All right. Well, there you go.
I bet it's awful. I bet it's awful.
I mean, look, Bud Light is the worst of the domestic light beers.
Big Spoons wants to know, or wants Civil to know, that we don't ignore you over here at Bite My Bits headquarters. And Reverend says, "Do it, John." Or Big says, "Do it, John." Civil says, "You know what you have to do." Yeah, you're more than welcome to bring it on the show. I ain't drinking it. That's no way, no how.
It's more than 100 calories, though.
Yeah, it's against his diet, so he's got at least 3 more weeks. That's 20 days he's got to get through. It's 20 days.
Hey, well, maybe he'll finally lose some weight. I could tell that he was getting a little out of control there.
Yeah.
So,
Still Miss Me just said Ncaa posted that. Oh, sorry. Becky is having Evil Twin Brewing Irish Coffee Stout. Irish-ish coffee stout.
Irish-ish?
Irish-ish. There we go. I gotcha.
Nice.
220 calories in a Bud Light lemonade.
Yum.
That's a light lager right there. Totally fits the bill for a light lager.
Premium light lager. Okay, get it right.
Bud Light lemonade around the corner fudge is made. Questionable. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. All right. LOL, John, they just called you fat. We did.
Yeah.
He's getting a little rotund, not going to lie.
Dang.
And who wants a fresh glass of ranch on draft? I have way more questions than I have answers here.
There ain't no hiding these valleys. Huh? You like that? You like that one? Because it's Hidden Valley Ranch.
Yes, I got it. I got it. Ugh. I have to deal with this crap all night and for like an hour after the camera goes on.
And then I'm just texting him nonstop whenever I think of one.
Yeah. On the way home, he's like, "Hey, Jeff."
Yeah, I don't even pull over, dude.
No.
Real dangerous.
Straight up. So Hidden Valley is bringing you a ranch beer tap on their bar tour. And it's not a ranch-inspired beer. It's literally Hidden Valley Ranch in a keg out of the tap. I don't know why you'd want that.
What is the tap handle going to be? Because, this could be a collector's item.
Right.
If it's just a bottle of Hidden Valley Ranch that they just that's dumb. If
it's a carved wooden one,
right?
I'd totally
or like enamel or something,
right?
Like
yeah, well, like the old enamel ones.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yep. There's a link I want you to click on.
Okay.
Go down right there to the dressing
keg. Got it.
Yeah. Well, scroll down just a little bit.
Oh. Oh.
Right there. Okay? That's a real thing you can buy. You can buy a keg of Hidden Valley Ranch. It's a 5-gallon keg of Hidden Valley Ranch. That is on store shelves now. And if you scroll up a little bit, they also have the Ranch Fondue Fountain. I'm not making any of this up. These are real products sold by Hidden Valley.
I mean, okay, chime off in chat. Y'all ranch people or not ranch people?
I am a ranch person. I am a ranch person. I really enjoy ranch.
I
have never been in a situation
where
I need a ranch fondue fountain.
That scared me because they clinked champagne flutes, and I thought they were going to fill it up with ranch.
Yeah. Strange little cross story here. So we gave my daughters popsicles last night, just some little fruit pops, and my oldest, she's 7, Miss. She's just eating hers and whatnot, and we're just sitting at the dinner table, just chatting with each other. And we look over, and my 2-year-old, little bit, is sitting there, and she's still got her dinner plate in front of her, and she's sucking on her popsicle. And then she goes... She was dipping her popsicle in ranch.
Yes. Yeah.
She was dipping her popsicle in the leftover ranch from her French fries.
Oh, man, that's great. But in mine used to be so repulsed by the smell of ranch that if you opened up those portable little ranch packets you get at like a deli or whatever, and you hid it from him, but it was near him, he would smell it and likely barf.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Ranch Corona spreader fountain.
He's a ranch bidet.
Yes.
Huh? It's about what it's good for, right?
I feel so clean now.
Wow, that is a Hidden Valley. Huh?
That's their secret. Ugh. You're disgusting. You're all disgusting.
I know.
All right, so that's going to do it for the beer news, and it is 8:28, but we spent the first 11 minutes talking about how we're going to talk about coronavirus instead of not talking about coronavirus. So, fair enough. All right, moving right along into some tech news. So, did you ever get into any kind of Bitcoin mining?
I did not. The closest I came was I helped manage a property that a Bitcoin miner used, and it was an old grocery store that became a Bitcoin mining operation.
Awesome.
And he apparently turned a profit despite the fact that his rent was like $125,000 a year and his utilities were like $250,000 a month.
That's a big operation. That's a way bigger operation than I imagined when you first said it.
Yeah, it was really intense.
I do a lot of business management, client management, kind of MSD type services, or MSP, MSP services. There was one situation where we were managing a computer lab. And we actually considered asking them if we could rent the computer lab, going out and buying graphics cards and using their electricity and just not tell them that we're going to like be, swarming with electricity. And so saying like, hey, can we rent the lab for like $100 a day for like 2 months?
Right.
They're getting a revenue stream. They don't mind, and I'm mining Bitcoin. It never panned out. We ended up not doing it. But me and my partner in crime thought very long and hard about trying to do that. However, this little company in where's it at? Dresden, New York, kind of took one of the major limitations away from a Bitcoin mining operation, and that is that they are a power company that is running essentially ASIC miners off the excess electricity that they generate at the plant. And they are apparently mining $65,000 worth of Bitcoins, $50,000 worth of Bitcoins every single day. They converted part of their facility, 65,000 square feet of their facility, with 7,000 Bitcoin miners. So basically ASIC miner units. They currently only use 14 megawatts of electricity. They're looking at expanding that to 106 megawatt in the future.
Oof.
So literally like factor of 8 multiplying up and scaling up. Which is freaking insane.
Yeah.
So the infrastructure that they have, I mean, if you want to scroll through some of the pictures here.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's insane. So this is some of the guys standing in front of one of their ASIC mining towers. And that's all just power lines that are running into there.
Yeah.
And this is just a natural gas power plant, so it's clean burning energy. It's all energy that would otherwise just be wasted as excess. So basically they're getting power for pennies on the dollar that the average consumer would be paying because, well, they own the product, they own the power plant, and they're not having to run the infrastructure over to a facility to use all that power. They're doing it in-house, on their property. So where there's power, you can mine. And if you own the power, it makes it a heck of a lot easier.
That's crazy. This opens up a lot of questions. Like, what do you do with this extra money? Like, what do you do with all that?
Right.
Like, do you pass any savings on to the consumer?
Probably not.
Right.
But it is bringing in $18,250,000 per year at the $50,000 per day rate.
Jeez.
And that's at the 14 megawatt. So if they scale it up to 108 megawatt, that is a 7.7 factor increase. So if we go 18,250,000 times 7.7, their potential operation is $140 million per year.
God,
just shy of
crazy.
$141 million per year. Yep. Ranch CLC cooled rack mount servers.
That's crazy.
So it's an interesting operation, and it's a really smart way to do it because your overhead is so low.
Yeah.
I mean, you're buying ASIC miners and plugging them into a network.
Yeah.
And then your power is essentially free for the operation that you're running. So I wouldn't be surprised if more and more power companies get into this because it's a heck of a lot more profitable for them than it is for just about anyone else.
Yeah.
Because of the power concerns. So.
God, that's crazy. What's crazy is how obvious it is.
Right. It's totally.
I mean, and that's kind of the genius.
Why didn't we think of that?
Right.
Kind of obvious.
Right. Yeah. Whenever an idea is like right in front of your face like that, and that's the first question I always ask is, why didn't I think of this first?
Yeah.
Which is, obviously I'm not sitting around all day dreaming up ways to mine Bitcoin, but still, like, that's pretty cool. And I think, obviously the money might just go in people's pockets, or maybe it goes to expanding their infrastructure so they can get up to, that scale that they want to get up to or whatever. But there's a lot of cool extra things that they could do.
Yeah.
With that kind of, because it's free money.
Right.
At a certain point. Like, I mean, they got the infrastructure for it, but
yeah,
that's pretty neat.
Speaking of power and how to use a lot of it all at once, are you much of? I don't remember if we talked about this before. Are you much of a car guy?
Yeah.
Like take him or leave him.
Yeah, like I watch Top Gear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good enough. I'll take that. So one of my favorite brands of car has really been Lotus since about 98 onward. Not the Lotus Esprit or some of the earlier, the 400 or whatever. Some of those earlier, 80s and mid 90s cars. But once you started getting into the Elysian and the Exige and the Evora and whatnot, I have been a super Lotus fanboy because they went the opposite direction from a lot of British cars in that they're using, French or Opel-based engines and trying to do all the electronics themselves. Instead, They hired genuine electrical engineers, not British electrical engineers, to start making their timing systems and ECUs and everything else. And they started using drivetrains from Toyota. And so the Lotus Exige is a Camry V6 that's just turbocharged. The Lotus Elise is a 1.8 Corolla engine with a Yamaha head on it that produces 200 horsepower instead of 130. It's reliable. It's a bulletproof, reliable drivetrain in a car that goes like hell. And I've always just found that, small car, lightweight, mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, just exciting. I used to have a Toyota MR2, which is based on the same chassis as the Lotus Elise. Same Corolla engine, but the 130 horsepower variant instead of the 200 horsepower variant. But one of my favorite cars of all time is the MR2 Spider. Well, Lotus is kind of upping their game. So a little while ago, they announced a 2,000 horsepower electric hypercar called the Evija. And again, the thought of the British coming out with an electrical car kind of took everyone and kind of went, huh? Because they're not necessarily known for reliable electronics in their vehicles. But enough people bought in. So they set this up for pre-order, and they have sold out of their entire allocation of 130 cars out of their first run. So the Evija is the most expensive car that Lotus has ever released at $2.65 million. But this is a car that will genuinely compete with the LaFerrari, with the Bugatti Veyron, with the top end spec cars that have ever been created. This is in that tier. This is in that league.
And all electric.
And all electric. But 130 people have plunked down the cash to buy this 2.65 million British hypercar. And that's just kind of astounding to me. The intersection of my interests has happened. Tech, beer, electric cars. There used to be a Lotus dealership on Canyon Road in Beaverton. Yes, I do know that. I drove by there many times. Shots fired. Have a poster of an Elise still on my wall that I bought back in '97. Very nice. But like I said, it's one of my favorite car brands. Mm-hmm. And to see them branching into the hypercar space is just exciting as heck. I currently drive a Nissan 350Z. That is my daily driver. It has 105,000 miles on it. It's a 6-speed, and it's basically bone stock with some Nismo upgrades. It's got the cold air intake K&M with an actual box to get more air in. It's got the Nismo wheels and brake package on it, but it's a roadster, and it's fun as all heck. Even in its stock form. I do have a couple extra plans that I want to do with it eventually, but in its stock form, it's a blast. I would trade it immediately for an Exige, for a V6 Lotus.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Right. But yeah, it's like an Exige or even a higher tier car. It's certainly on my dream list of maybe one day I'll get one, or maybe one day I'll find a good deal on one. But yeah, Lotus joining the hypercar elite at 2,000 horsepower and $2.65 million.
You can have one, viewer. You can have one for.
Well, no, you can't because they're sold out.
Oh, that's true.
They're sold out of their allocation.
That's true.
Yep.
I forgot that they. That's a bummer.
Yep.
I guess you can't.
Yep, you can't. Sorry.
Well, hey, there's always hope on the used market, right?
Can't wait for Jeremy Clarkson to review one of those e-Lotuses. Actually, I kind of want Richard Hammond to review it.
Well, it's only a matter of time.
Yep. All right. No good transition here. AMD Zen news.
Yeah.
So earlier this week, this happened on Monday, there was a disclosure from a research company that revealed I don't want to quite equate it to Spectre and Meltdown because it's really not quite that extreme, but it is a flaw in the Zen architecture that does allow basically the same type of thing, the speculative execution, to read the cache that's built into the CPU on Zen processors. And not only Zen processors, AMD processors dating all the way back to Bulldozer. So your FX-based processors, your FX 4100, 8350, your Opterons, your 61, 62, and 6300 Opterons, and all the way up to the latest Zen 2 architecture are all affected. However, AMD claims the issue can be patched. They haven't said whether or not it will come with the same speed penalty that patching Spectre and Meltdown on the Intel side of things incurred. And this has nothing to do with the multi-threading of the CPUs. This is a direct relation between the cache and the way the processor digs through the cache. And the reason I say it's not as bad as Spectre or Meltdown was because with those two variants, you could trick an Intel CPU into opening up its cache and downloading the contents of the entire cache. With the AMD, with the side channel attack, you can only download bits and pieces of it. So you're never going to get a full password string or anything like that. You will see sections of the cache data. It's still a breach, it's still a problem, but it's not quite as severe as Spectre and Meltdown. Again, we're still waiting for... there's been a statement from AMD that says the vulnerability... or we've already posted an advisory on the company website, and we're aware of the new white paper, and we're not terribly concerned, but we will be patching it here shortly. And some of this has already been patched, and then the researchers came back out and said, no, it hasn't been patched yet. Yeah. So it's a lot of he said, she said going on right now.
Well, and not only that, but, and maybe I read this wrong, but wasn't the weakness discovered like a year ago?
It was discovered a year ago, which and this went through the right white hat channels, right? This was discovered. AMD was informed of it in October, and they got essentially their 6 months to figure out how to patch it. Okay. They haven't patched it yet, or at least according to the researchers, they haven't patched it yet. AMD claims that they have patched at least part of the vulnerability. So I'm going to quote the bottom of the article here. It's noteworthy that the advisory does not point to any mitigations for the attack in question, merely citing other mitigated speculation executions that were used as a vehicle of attack for the layer 1 cache predictor. The researchers also used other methods to exploit the vulnerability, so the advisory is a bit nebulous. So again, even the claims from the researchers are kind of brought into question. Gotcha. Because is it the level 1 cache that's vulnerable, or is it a side channel into the cache that's vulnerable? How much of the cache is vulnerable? Whereas AMD says it's just the researchers are claiming that there's other ways to manipulate it, and yeah, it's just weird. This one is not being handled all that well. I'm going to point fingers at AMD because I don't think it's being handled all that well from AMD, especially because they've had at least 6 months leeway to patch it, and I don't know that they have.
Right.
You know, this is again, not as severe as Meltdown, but Intel had a full calendar year to patch Spectre and Meltdown, and not only didn't patch it, but kept advertising the features that had to be closed off due to the patches that they were going to come out with for a full year. So, yeah, it's just a little weird.
Yeah.
And the AMD vulnerability requires physical access. It can't traverse virtual machines. That's another key point to this of why it isn't so bad. Because the Intel one could be performed remotely on a virtual machine server where you could access the cache data of other virtual machines running on that same physical host even if your processors were allocated only to your CPU, or your processors were allocated only to your VM, where you had a dedicated box. You could still access the cache from the rest of the box. So that's a problem. But yeah, so thank you for pointing that out, that this one requires physical access, which typically physical access trumps all anyway. We talked about a story a year and a half ago when Spectre Meltdown was kind of coming out, about this team that claimed that they had all of these different hacks that affected AMD processors and AMD processors alone. And it was something to the effect of, if you have the root password, you could inject this in the thing. It's like, yeah, if you get root access, I can do anything I want at that point. Why is a hack that requires root access a hack?
Yeah.
There was no self-elevation, and it still required physical access to execute it. It's like, here's the keys and my password, and we're going to turn the cameras off, and I'll see you in the morning.
Good luck.
Unless you ran into that situation, there was no exploit. So, and AMD's response to that one was, well yeah. Oh, and here's my credit card if you need anything for dinner.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Thank you.
I take care of my contractors. What was your name again?
Billy.
Billy, yeah. Thank you, Sonny.
I said Billy.
No, you didn't. That was the joke.
Fair enough.
I should finish my beer.
That you should. Mm-hmm. Because alcohol definitely protects you from COVID-19.
That's right. Only if it's above 60 proof, though.
That's true.
And only if you used it externally.
That's true.
So right now I'm just staying hydrated. That's another way to find it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, this is a diuretic. Hold on.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong.
Not often.
It's true.
Not often am I wrong.
That's true.
Someone just said MLB canceled.
Does Jeff say virtuar instead of virtual?
Virtual. My L is very quiet, but it's there.
Yeah.
Virtual.
Yeah, virtual.
My tongue is at the top of my mouth when I finish it. Yeah. Whether or not air is still passing through, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's virtual.
Virgil.
Virtual.
Virgil.
Virtual. Virtual. Your Virtua machine.
Yeah. See? Get out of here, guys.
So it's not on that list yet.
I think they're just asking. MLB canceled?
MLB statement.
They do not plan to cancel games.
We do not currently plan to cancel games, cancel spring training, or regular season games as a result of the coronavirus outbreak.
That's
and that was as of, that was over a week ago. That was on the 3rd.
MLB now announces those plans were a mistake.
Right. 13 hours ago, New York Post posted an article that said MLB knows coronavirus could alter its plans at any moment. So, maybe?
Yeah, it looks like they did make some changes to their regular season schedule.
Yep.
And it is speculated that there will be more to come. So, specifically because, that's right, because Jay Inslee, Washington State governor, has canceled any large gatherings of 1,000. Oh, it says here 250 people or more. I thought it was 1,000 people or more, but that might be San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco was 1,000. Washington State is
250.
Right,
and that includes sports, that includes concerts, that includes any event. Washington is being hit hard as
Washington's the #1 state.
Yeah,
right now, and California's #2.
Yeah, King County was,
and here we are, kind of between them.
Yeah, we're next.
Yeah,
we're next. We're gonna have to close up shop and take care of ourselves. So, it's important we take care of ourselves. It's important we wash our hands and And if you do get sick, don't go out. You'll probably be okay as long as you take care of yourself.
Yep.
And just do your duty to not spread it. There's real positive news coming out of South Korea that superb public communication and testing efforts, their cases are no longer on that sharp arc pathway up. They're starting to steadily peter out. That is a testament to medical science and, the government of Korea stepping up and knowing what to do. So if we do our part to make sure we don't spread, we'll get back to baseball games in no time.
That's right. Or you can deal with it like North Korea did.
That's true. Just don't acknowledge it and exile all the people that get it. Or what did they do?
They shot him in the head.
Is that what they did?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Exile was a...
What coronavirus?
Yeah, exile was the PG word.
Yeah. Well, they've been exiled. Won't be coming back anytime soon.
They've been exiled to heck.
Yeah. So this is Fort George's Magnanimous IPA. It is a 7% West Coast style IPA brewed right here in Astoria, Oregon. And what else can I say about it? It's a Christmas beer, like I said at the top of the hour. All right.
Well, I was like, man, Jeff got good head on that last one.
Yeah.
But did you pour your whole can?
Not
probably
quite.
Won't fit, right?
Not quite.
Okay, good. That makes me feel a little better.
It's close.
Oh, good Lord. That's a lot of Christmas.
I told you it's a lot of Christmas.
Oh, that got me. That got me.
That's awesome. Boom.
Nicely done, sir.
That's how you do it.
Hats off to you.
Thank you. That's legit 3/4 of an inch ahead.
Hey, well done, sir. Coronavirus can't keep you down.
That's right.
Yeah. This dude says, if the NBA is canceled, I can see them canceling MLB. That's true.
Yep.
Hopefully there's not some executive being like, well, now we got a market share in sports TV.
Right.
Something stupid. Yeah. NCAA tournament changes. We do know about those.
Yep. We'll continue talking about
we'll get
all
to
this at the end of the show. For right now, let's move on to the next bit of AMD news, and this one is rather positive.
Yeah.
Ryzen 4000 series mobile chips could hit 18 hours of battery life in laptops, says the Vice President of Graphics and Computing, Rick Bergman. He hinted on stage that their 4000 series chips could hit 18 hours of runtime, which seriously interests me.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we are talking about the Ryzen 4000 U series, which is their lower wattage 15-watt mobile chips. They have the 4300U at 4-core 4-thread, all the way up to the 4800U at 8-core 16-thread. It has a 1.8 gigahertz base and a 4.2 gigahertz boost clock with 12 megabytes of cache. It also has 8 GPU cores on board running at 1750 megahertz. That chip will not be a slouch. It really will not be. And I've said this a couple of times. I've already chosen my next laptop. I know exactly what it will be, and it's going to be the Asus Zephyrus G14, which has the AMD 4800U and an RTX 2060. That will be my next laptop. I don't know quite when I'll buy it, but I will be buying that laptop.
It will be mine.
It will be mine.
Get in my belly.
So now, obviously, this is all speculation, and it's... Oh, yes, AMD says that it will get 18 hours of battery life in low power mode at 800 megahertz. I don't know whether to take this at 15 watts of normal daily use or heavy use, or it'll play a YouTube video for 18 hours. What more do you want to use your laptop for? So obviously real life is probably going to be a little bit more down to earth, but we've seen high performing laptops with 10 and 12 hour batteries before. Why not 18?
Yeah.
If these really are as power efficient as they claim. I mean, wattage is still wattage. You've got to deal with all that. But I'm kind of excited.
Yeah.
Kind of excited to finally get my hands on one of these. And I'm hearing as soon as March 18th that Ryzen 4000 Mobile will be released.
Nice. Right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Like tomorrow. Or no?
No, it's next Wednesday. Next Wednesday.
Okay.
Today's the 11th.
Fair enough.
Yep. And it kicks in, says finally some competition on the mobile chips. Yes, I have been waiting so long for some competition in the mobile space. I do have a Ryzen 2500U in my laptop that Red is using right now. It's a 4-core 8-thread with Vega 8 graphics, and quite honestly, it worked just fine for editing video at CES. I was actually really impressed. I edited ProRes 422 proxy at CES and encoded 1080p 60.
It's true.
And it was a dynamite little machine for doing that. My render speed could have been improved. It was probably a 1:4 render speed. So a 10-minute video took almost 40 minutes to render. That's where it seriously needed some help. But this also wasn't GPU accelerated at all because it doesn't use the Zen chip or the Vega chip to help encode. So definitely some improvements to be made, which is kind of why I want that 4800U with an RTX 2060. Get a little CUDA boost in there and double my cores, double my threads. Yep.
LOL, Rhett high AF. Because of this?
Might have something to do with it. So what do you think of your Christmas tree beer?
Yeah, it's really Christmas tree-y. Now, to be fair, these are, wait, what are these? Spruce tips? What are these?
Spruce, I believe. Unfiltered, expect sediment.
Well, I'm horrible. But yeah, are they spruce tips or are they...
I believe they are.
Whatever. I failed. Yeah, because I was going to say... I was going to be a smart ass and talk about Christmas tree farming in Oregon. And well, anyway, that went out the window. So it's delicious. It's really... It packs a wallop of flavor.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of... what's that other spruce tip beer I'm thinking of off the top of my head? You know the one. You know the one. Oh, I failed. Yeah, nope, that's not it. God, I see it at the store every time.
Is it Alaskan?
No. Anyway, screw it. It doesn't matter. I'm just wasting time. But it packs even more spruce tip flavor than that. And what's fun about it is obviously this is an IPA, right?
Yes.
So you get lots of hops, but my favorite thing about it is that it's not with the floral or the herbal flavoring is more of the tree flavor. It's not the hop flavor, which is great. Yeah, somebody says fir tips. But what kind of fir? Is it Doug fir tips?
I don't know.
Anyway, the whole point was to say Doug fir won Christmas trees. There we go.
Magnanimous IPA.
We're doing it.
Yes, I'm a legal drinking age. Go away. Magnanimous IPA was
some fur picking help. Generous amounts of grand fir.
Oregon grand fir.
Okay, that is a Christmas tree.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Oregon grand fir with Chinook and Simcoe hops. I thought it was Simcoe. I don't taste the Chinook.
You don't taste the Chinook hops? What are you?
Jeez, Rhett.
You're such a plebeian.
I am. I'm. Yeah. I'm such a poser.
No, like seriously, you just... You don't taste the Chinook hops? You dork.
The Chinook?
Yeah, the Chinook.
The Chinook.
Yeah. That's how they said it. That's how the natives said it. Yeah, it is. Chinook.
Okay, well, I'm going to say Chinook if you agree that it's Jif. Because that's how he said it.
No, I do agree that it's...
Okay.
I mean, here's what I say GIF, but I know that it's wrong.
Right.
And I accept that it's wrong and that I'm just untrainable.
Okay, then Chinook.
Shut up. Why are we arguing about the whole GIF thing? I've never disagreed with you.
Because John and I argued about it last week.
I'm just like one of those, it's like, look, I know it's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What do you want from me?
We're sitting on the couch eating cheesecake at 2 in the morning going, I know, I'm fat.
Why?
Y'all over there drinking Christmas trees in March. It's Oregon. All we have is Christmas trees.
Bro, look around you. In Oregon.
Isn't Chinook a helicopter? It's also a salmon.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a...
And my father-in-law actually works at the helicopter facility in which they maintain pretty much the entire operating fleet of Chinook helicopters.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and if I could be totally mistaken too, but I'm pretty sure Chinook is a local tribe in the area as well. In the Astoria, in like the Columbia River Basin. Yep. If I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken.
I believe you are correct.
Probably wrong.
I'm probably wrong.
But yeah, either way, it's a Native American word, and it's our local variety of salmon. Yep. One of them.
Okay, we had one more AMD story.
Nope.
Ooh. Huh.
Oh, wait, did it just get moved?
Nope, I missed it.
Yeah.
If you go down to... sorry, 11. Go to Chrome. And then scroll up a little bit. Right-click that one.
Thank you. I need all the help I can get.
Just have 11 on it. There you go. All right. Moving right along. So we do have some AMD Navi news. Big Navi officially has a name, not just Big Navi or Navi 21, but they're actually going to be calling it Navi 2X. Now, it's still probably Navi 20 or 21 or whatever revision they want to go on. But Navi 20 2X will be released by the end of 2020. We don't have any official timelines, but this is direct from the horse's mouth, the horse being AMD. The architecture of Navi is kind of following along the same footsteps that Polaris did when it was kind of ramping up. With what they had with Polaris 10, Polaris 20, and Polaris 30 based architectures. They're doing the same thing with RDNA and at the same time cRNA or cDNA for their compute cards. Stupid names. I mean, why isn't it gDNA for graphics and cDNA?
I was wondering the same thing when I was reading the story.
But R? I mean, Radeon, like, I guess you get your product plug in there. But Radeon DNA and Compute DNA. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe there's some, I don't know, cultural thing or something. Maybe it's a language thing.
Don't know.
I don't know. Doesn't make sense.
At least it's not the 2070 Ti Super.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's
or the 10980XE or the i9 10900.
There's no naming scheme for computer products that makes sense.
Well, the thing is, no, you're right. I will say
there's some that are tolerable.
I will say AMD's bulldozer products, so the FX 4100, 8100, 8150, those kind of made sense. And I will say once they hit like the Sandy Bridge, they went with the i3 2100, 2400, the i5 2500, 2600, and the 2500 and the i7 2600. And so that, at least it's a stair step up. But the problem is the next generation, they had variants within those variants.
Yeah. And
so all of a sudden you had the i5 3570 and 3590 and the i7 3770 and 3790.
Yeah.
And the 3770X. And
see, the problem is like when I have a file naming structure that's better than this, you got problems, right?
And if you rewind the clock back to the NVIDIA 7000, 8000, 9000 series graphics cards, back before GTX was a thing, you had the 8800 GT and the 8700 and the 8600. You had the 9400 GT, the 9500, 9600 GT, 9800, 9800 GT, and GTX Plus. And so those kind of made sense, where you've got your tier of card and then you've got a little bit more out. I hate Super as a name, and I hate that there's so many different variants within variants, and they're overlapping at the same time. It's one thing to say we're coming out with the 980 Ti and it's going to, to say we have an RTX 2060 Super and it's going to replace the 2060. Instead, they have literally the same price point and the same place in the market space with like 7% performance difference between them. And they say, oh, no, we're going to sell them both at the same time. This one's 309, this one's 329. Why? So, yeah, I agree with you there. I totally agree with you there.
Finally. I did it, everybody. I did it. He agrees. Promotion for me.
Right. Bulldozer never made any sense because nobody would look at them for long enough to figure out the naming scheme. See, I disagree with that. I think AMD for the longest time in the late 2000s and early 2010s when Bulldozer came out, really 2010, 2011 for Bulldozer, AMD had been trumpeted for many, many years as we're almost as fast, but we cost a lot less. And so when Bulldozer came out and fell flat on his face as far as performance goes, and then they said, well, we'll fix it with Piledriver, and then Piledriver did the exact same damn thing. People just kind of said, yeah, it's $299 or $199 for an 8-core processor, but my 4-core i7-3770 is wiping that thing, wiping the ground with that thing. And so they didn't have the clout for performance, and it wasn't that much less expensive. So I think that's why FX CPUs never did all that well. I don't think the names were confusing at all. So you had 4,000 for 4-core, 6,000 for 6-core, 8,000 for 8-core, and then the higher up in numbers you were, the higher in performance you were.
Perfect.
Until they hit the 9550, and now you're at an 8-core, but you're overclockable to 5 gigahertz.
Yeah.
Which ended up being a 4-core, 8-thread because they shared the memory cache and da-da-da-da-da. And the rest is history, and we all got $100 checks because we bought FX processors. But anyway, big Navi launch before the end of the year. Navi 3 by 2022. And so there's going to be a little bit of a lull. However, the big thing that they're saying is from RDNA to RDNA 2, which is Navi 20, we're going to see a 50% performance per watt increase. Now, a lot of people claim that. Apple comes out every year and says, this is twice as fast at this speculative Java execution on your iPhone. And it's twice as fast as the previous generation was at this really weird algorithm. It might be something like that. This might be marketing spin, where they're not talking about gaming performance and performance per watt. They're talking about, some weird calculation that it now has an instruction for that is better than. It's NVIDIA coming out and saying our current cards are 4 times as fast as the previous cards at ray tracing shadows. Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, you have hardware dedicated for it, and the last ones didn't. So
well done.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff in tech where it's like, we have the technology to do it now, and obviously it's 4 times faster than it used to be. That's how technology works. But by the end of 2022, we will see what they're claiming is advanced node RDNA 3. They're being a little hush-hush on if it will be 7 nanometer plus or 5 nanometer architecture in Navi 3. So we'll just have to wait and see. We did get a quick look at the cooler for it, though. If you scroll down a little bit, the thing that strikes me right away is the reference design is no longer a blower. It is an open air exhaust cooler. The other thing that strikes me is how short that cooler is. And when I say short, I don't mean this way in your case. I mean the depth that it's taking in your case. That's even with the PCI bracket right there. If you move your mouse there you go.
Right here.
It's even with that. We've been in an era where cards are getting thicker and thicker and thicker and requiring more space, edging towards your tempered glass panel. It's a nice return to see a nice slim graphics card that's only 2 slots coming out. Even as a reference design, because you really can't take that for granted these days.
Yeah.
So yeah, Navi coming soon. Hey Jeff, do you think buying a 2700X now is a good deal and future proof for $110? I think that's a freaking phenomenal deal at $110. 8 core, 16 threads at a pretty reasonable tick on a 2700X. You can probably get it up to 4.2 gigahertz pretty easily with a modest cooler on it. I'd say heck yeah, that's the way to go. Obviously, the 3700X is probably 15% faster, but it's also 3 times the money. It's $330. So $110, go for it.
Perfect.
Frickin' go for it. In fact, I have a build coming up in a couple of weeks with a Ryzen 5 1600AF. I finally got my hands on one, so we're gonna do a sub $500 gaming system that does 1080p, probably 120. Nice. So that's my goal for that video. So stay tuned if you like kind of the banging budget deals. And by the way, everything was purchased new. $500, brand new parts, warranties across the board.
Nice.
NVMe-ish storage, but only 128 gigs and 1 terabyte spinning drive. I guess the spinning drive was purchased refurbished because I got it for like $28. But it's a 1 terabyte drive to store all your games on, and if you're fine with waiting an extra 5 seconds for things to load, it'll get you up and running. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
And it looks good too. That's the thing. Is this system's going to look like $1 million? All right. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. There you go. You are the man. The Nintendo PlayStation, Sony and Nintendo's bastard child offshoot, finally sold at auction. It's been on auction for the last month or so. Official winner got it for $360,000. The winner did wish to remain anonymous. And $2 donation from Questionable Commands. $2 for Rhett's explosion sounds while scrolling down.
You're welcome. I'm an expert at making sound effects while doing stuff.
Pew pew.
Wah, 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 wah. No? Okay.
Air horn and finger guns?
Well,
you're going a little much there.
These are just air horn finger guns.
Wah, 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 wah.
I'm slinging air horns.
Wah, 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 wah.
Wah, wah, wah. Anyway. Yeah. This is interesting to me because...
Wild West.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Don't go there, dude. I haven't thought about that song in like...
Since like 98.
20 years? Yeah. Oh, man. You know what's crazy is I'm pretty sure I heard that like on the radio not that long ago.
Mm-hmm. I know I did.
It was like basically a hit though, wasn't it?
It was. It was actually, I thought, a decent song at the time. I mean, it was Will Smith promoting a Will Smith movie in the Wild Wild West.
Yeah. Which was a fun movie.
With Salma Hayek.
Was she in? Oh yeah, she was. Duh.
Yeah, that was Rita.
Yeah.
Huh. No. I love that movie in its absurdity.
Yeah.
It was so far removed from reality, it started to be believable.
Yeah. What's fun about it is, I was pretty young when that movie came out, and
this is all related to the Sony PlayStation or the Nintendo PlayStation.
It will be.
Yeah.
No, I can't tie it in.
Can't tie it in?
No. I failed. Great movie.
Interestingly enough, no Wild Wild West games ever were released for the Nintendo PlayStation.
That's a good segue. It's like you're a dang professional.
It's what I do.
All right, let me try it. It's like Will Smith never played Nintendo's PlayStation.
There you go. Now we're on the same page.
All right.
So it sold at auction for $360,000. Now, Palmer Luckey former Oculus head, was actually in the running for this thing when it was about $250,000. And he goes, I've bid $250,000 and some crazy SOB outbid me. You guys be tripping, or something like that. He wasn't quite as street as that, but that was basically the tweet that he sent out. Is just bid $350,000 on this thing.
Yeah,
it's been fun, gentlemen. I'm out. So those who don't know, you can check this out on the Ben Heck Show, and it's been around to quite a few other places as well. But Ben Heck famously tore this thing down, actually did some line level repair on it.
Oh, wow.
Got the audio CD working,
wow.
So it can actually play a CD now, and does a couple other things. Comes with a test cartridge. It does boot up SNES games. And I believe there was a disc included with it as well for like a Sony diagnostic thing. So it does not boot Sony PlayStation retail discs. It has too early of a BIOS. They won't run on it. They don't know what hardware they're looking at, so the programs don't run, or the programs weren't finalized yet. But the system does turn on and work.
That's crazy.
$360,000. Now, $360,000 is a lot for a collector's item. However, I guess the owners of this were at one point offered $1.2 million because this is the only one known to exist. It's the only console of this known to have survived. And in fact, no one thought it survived. No one thought it ever made it out of prototyping, but here's a near retail sample of one.
You know what's crazy is if you look at the picture... right here where I've got the mouse moving, that little logo or whatever that presumably is like PlayStation logo.
They actually did use that logo very early on in PlayStation days,
and I was
1995.
I was going to say early on, or not early on, like a few months ago, circulating on Twitter and Reddit was like a list of all of PlayStation's logos that they've kind of gravitated between, some that didn't make the cut, and I was going to say like this was on there for sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember this being used, but I've seen it in conjunction with...
No, I think it was out with some of their early PlayStation games.
Sure.
Because they were very, very late into the development of this console. Yeah. Because I remember this coming out in 1995. Or this kind of thing being announced in... No, sorry, the PlayStation came out in 95.
Right.
We didn't get the Nintendo 64 until 96, late 96, holiday season 96.
Yeah.
So the PlayStation itself had a full year advantage on the Nintendo.
And remember, man, the PlayStation came with that demo disc that had like 8 games on it, including like that intro to Metal Gear Solid. Oh, God, I had to have played that like religiously.
Yep.
You got some ninja game on there. Spyro was on there.
Oh, that wasn't just some ninja game. That was Ninja Gaiden.
Was that Ninja Gaiden?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It seems so different from what I remember. Because this was like not... Oh, maybe it was.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was Ninja Gaiden. It was Spyro. It was some of the VR missions for Metal Gear.
Oh, yeah, it did have VR. But it also had the intro.
Right.
Like up until you got inside the building and everything. There was a wrestling one where you could you played as Stone Cold or Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, back when it was the WWF.
Yeah. And then there was Cool Borders 1080 or whatever that game was.
Yeah.
Oh man, and a lot of the demos were 2-player.
Yeah.
So like, dude, I would play the one race on Cool Borders all the time.
What was the airplane racing one? There was an airplane racing game. That was a demo on there as well. Yeah. I don't remember what that game was called.
Oh, dude. Yeah. That's crazy. Because that was like not one of my favorites on there.
Oh, that was the one I went to all the time.
Yeah, I can't... Oof. Dude, that's a blast from the past, though. You got to think about how little baby I was back then.
Yeah.
Well, this is pretty cool. So next time it goes to auction, maybe you can get your hands on it.
Yeah. We already offered it to them. I don't think one of my viewers bought it.
That's too bad.
And if you did, why isn't your patronage higher? Like, seriously.
Also, if the guy who did buy it isn't a viewer...
You should subscribe, dude.
He should hit sub.
You should totally subscribe.
I got to quit tapping on this because people always... They're like, I can hear it when you tap.
Yep.
Anyway, somebody says Tenchu is the game, but it definitely wasn't Tenchu. Sorry.
It wasn't Tenchu. You know, I'm going to skip this one because this story is actually 2 weeks old. Google Nest cameras, the server went down for about 17 hours, and people had no live feeds and no access to recordings, and those recordings were not saved during those 17 hours. This happened on February 25th. And I was going to bring up a point about how sometimes cloud services probably aren't the way to go, but honestly, we do have a genuine full half hour of cancellation talk to get into, so I kind of want to get into that, unless why you shouldn't use cloud services for your NVR interests anyone. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay. We're just going to move on.
Yeah. So, we got about 40 minutes left.
Yep.
We're going to hit some coronavirus news.
Yep.
Obviously, we talked a little bit about it before, but when we're watching the news roll in from places like Italy, and they're shutting down, and they suspended mortgages. That's how seriously they're taking it, which is, I think, a very
cool. They said
cool...
no one can work, so you don't have to pay your mortgage payment.
Yeah.
You just extend your payments a month.
Yeah.
Or two, or however long it is.
Great move. So ever since, they've been saying that we're going to be seeing and feeling the economic impacts of the coronavirus, and Austin is feeling it right now.
Yes.
And this is huge because South by Southwest brings in so much money to Austin in tourism, in sales and hospitality and all that sort of stuff.
Yep. For those that don't know what South by Southwest is, like John, he didn't know. He had no idea what South by Southwest was. He goes, SXSW is apparently, it's South by Southwest. He goes, well, I'm reading SXSW.
Yeah.
Yeah, South by Southwest. It's a music and art festival that also includes some tech aspects. And some major tech players are signed up to go every year. There's Google, there's Apple, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, they do focus a lot more on the social aspects of tech while they're there, but there are some companies exhibiting tech there. And it's usually a pretty cool place. There's a lot of conferences and keynotes that you can go to from around the industry. And it kind of touches on that tech art piece of my brain that is really how my brain works.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken too, South by Southwest is also has one of the country's biggest film festivals.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a combined all-in-one art festival. Mm-hmm. So you got all this tech stuff going on. The music is huge. When I was a teenager, all of the bands I loved, South by Southwest was one of the biggest stops of the year for them.
Yep.
Then you got the film festival, which is a huge place for up and coming people in Hollywood because they can take their movies there and meet people.
It's where they go before they submit to Sundance.
Right. Exactly.
So.
Also, I hate to derail this too much, but maybe the reason that John doesn't know what South by Southwest is because he bought tickets to Rage Against the Machine at the Moda Center. Bro.
I can't believe you called it the Moda Center on my show.
Well,
it's the FNRG. It's the Rose Garden.
Look, I know that, but also Rage Against the Machine ain't playing at the RG. They're playing at the MC.
So, do you see this little icon right here on Chrome?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a little Trailblazer icon. It's an extension that I have installed on Chrome. It takes any mention of the Moda Center and it turns it into the Rose Garden.
I appreciate that.
And I have that installed.
I do appreciate
And so it is so freaking awesome going, get your tickets to see...
whatever, at the Rose Garden.
Gosh, who's
Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against the Machine. No, there's a musician coming to town. James Taylor. He's coming to the Rose Garden. Nice. So I was looking up tickets, and it says, get your tickets to see James Taylor at the Rose Garden on March 28th. Nice.
Yeah. I used to use that plugin, but for whatever reason, it just fell out of use in my daily use. Yeah. But
I still use it.
But also, if you're paying $300 to see Rage Against the Machine at the Moda Center, dude, first of all, you forgot what Rage Against the Machine's all about.
He's actually seeing Tool tonight.
That's pretty cool.
He's there for Tool.
That's pretty cool. But he did say Rage next month. So
yeah, Rage next month, but he's seeing Tool tonight.
I wish I was seeing Tool tonight. That'd be awesome. Even if it's at the Rose Garden. I hate going to shows at the Rose Garden, but I did see Elton John there. That was the last concert I went to there.
I've been to a couple concerts at the Coliseum and the Rose Garden both, and I've not been impressed with those as concert venues.
No.
I've seen some stand-up at the Rose Garden, and that one held up. Those held up.
Who'd you see at the Rose Garden?
I saw...
There's some big acts coming through the Rose Garden.
Yeah.
Like Joe Rogan last year was at the Rose Garden.
Yeah, I didn't catch that one. Gosh, who did I see at the Rose Garden? I saw one at the Vancouver Amphitheater. I saw one down in Salem a couple years ago. I did get to see... who was that? The Nerdist.
Yeah, Chris Hardwick.
I saw him at the Majestic.
That's a cool.
That was a cool theater.
System of a Down played the Moto Center years ago,
that'd be
and they were horrible.
But
they were really bad.
My problem with the Moto Center is there's so much echo, and they always turn it up a little too loud, and all you ever hear is reverb. You don't get any of the sound.
I will say
it's horrible acoustics in that building.
I will say it's better. Well, at least when I saw Elton John last year after you and I returned from CES.
I dropped you off at the Rose Garden from the plane.
Yeah, you did, yeah. We're going.
I'm going to make it!
Yeah. I had just enough time to get a beer before I entered the Rose Garden, so that was pretty nice. And then I drank several beers while watching him. So, but I will say the sound for that was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I hadn't been to a concert there for like 10 years before that, and so I don't know if it changed, or like maybe you're looking at like a different caliber of act, or like I don't know. But
yeah, I'm trying to remember who I saw do stand up at the Rose Garden. I can't picture them right now, but we had tickets on the floor.
Ooh,
nice. They were good seats. I was really happy.
Well, what was interesting, I thought it was kind of interesting, and again, I didn't buy tickets, but Joe Rogan last August came through, and Joe did a show where he was in the center. And the audience completely surrounded him, which I was like, "That's kind of neat."
Right?
Like,
no, that's exactly how they set it up for ours.
I would have loved to see that. I kind of like Joe. I like his podcast and some of his comedy. He rubs me the wrong way sometimes, but like that would have been a neat show to see.
Right?
Like, he's a cool dude. So
yes. Now there were 14,000 people there when I went. So they had the floor first and second all filled.
That'd be cool.
It was great.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. All right, so South by Southwest officially canceled.
Which is a huge blow.
Yeah.
Huge blow to Austin. And a huge blow to all the artists and like people that are there too.
Absolutely. So. This one's another huge blow. E3 has officially been canceled.
Yeah.
Now E3 themselves does say they are already planning for E3 2021. But there is some fear that this might be the death of E3. Because if companies pull out and they realize that they can broadcast their own news conferences on whatever day they want and whatever time slot they want and get all of the eyeballs onto them, they may just start doing this as like an invite-only event with a smaller group of people where Activision is the main show or Microsoft Gaming or...
But that's the thing. What's crazy about it is like there's already like Blizzard Fest or whatever. BlizzCon. Like what's to stop all these...
There's QuakeCon for Bethesda.
Yeah. I don't know. This is a tough one for me because E3 has not been relevant to me personally since G4 was a thing.
Right.
Like when I could watch live coverage on cable. Granted, I'm sure it's even easier now, but that's just, again, that's its relevance.
You pay for cable?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No. But I'm saying like back when I had cable, it was as easy as flipping through the channels and E3 coverage before Attack of the Show or whatever.
I have no idea how to take that comment. I've never missed a flight before. Me pictures Jeff driving a beat-up red Caddy across the skirt of the Las Vegas airport. I will say my 2 rental cars at Las Vegas have sucked.
Also, they were red. Well, no. Was your other one red? Ours was red.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. The Sentra was red. The 2017 Nissan Sentra or Nissan Versa.
Oh, the Versa.
Versa. With 3 cylinders of raw power.
Oh, dude, that thing got us around Vegas. Not in style, but it got us around.
If you want all the power of a quad and all the smoothness and transmission of a snowmobile, pick the 2017 Nissan Versa. Yours for only $8,000 new.
What is it? What is
The 2017 Nissan Versa comfortably seats 1.
What does Alice Osako mean by that?
I don't know.
I've never missed a flight before.
I think she was talking about me dropping you off at the Rose Garden. I'm gonna make it. I think that was based on that comment.
Oh,
that's what I'm guessing.
You know what's crazy about that whole thing though is like our flight was kind of like up in the air because that's when the flight controllers were on strike.
There were 20 airports that were shut down.
Yeah, and Vegas was in talks that day to shut down.
Yeah.
That was not 2000. Yeah, that was 2019.
January 19. Yeah. And I actually made my biggest faux pas ever at the Vegas airport coming back with Rhett.
Oh God, yeah.
So we had.
I thought about this the other day, and I was like, "Oh God, I got so much anxiety."
I did too. So on Friday night before our flight left, we went to a FedEx shipping facility.
By Chili's.
Yeah, right by Chili's. You know the place. And we dropped off all of our stuff, all of our swag. Rhett won a keyboard, and I got like a bunch of swag and whatnot. And so we put that all into a giant box and we shipped it home. And I'm like, I really don't want to carry my camera batteries home with me. So my camera's going to stay in my backpack, but I'm going to put all the batteries in the box and I'll just ship the batteries home because I don't need them for a couple days anyway. I'm just going to be editing footage of CES when I get home. So I did that and we shipped the box out. And by the way, you run on like 3 hours of sleep a night at CES. Yeah. And so by Friday, you're just dead. We woke up in the morning. We had like a 10 a.m. flight or something like that. So we're dropping the rental car off at about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we're moving.
We're getting there plenty of time. We're walking up to the TSA line, and I'm walking up there, and I already dropped my bag off to check, and I have my camera bag is all I carry with me on the plane, and I get about we were in line. We had reached the line.
Yeah.
And I'm just standing there, and Rhett and I are talking, and I go, oh God, the batteries.
Yeah.
I put the batteries back in my camera bag.
Yeah. And mind you, like, I could have just been like, dude, we shipped them last night.
Right. But Rhett was like, really?
Dude, well, and you go, I mean, those weren't in my check bag, were they? And I was like, well, let's check your carry-on.
Right. I had thought because I'm like, oh crap, the batteries. Did I put them back in my camera bag? And so I flipped the camera bag off real quick, and I'm checking that, and I'm like, there's no batteries in here. Crap, did I put them in my carry-on?
My mind is cranking, and I'm like, that doesn't seem right, but like, there's no other answer.
Right, there's no other answer. There's nowhere else they could possibly be.
And one of the stressful parts, too, was that we were getting ready to walk past the dogs.
Yeah.
You remember that? They had the dogs going past, like, checking people.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, no. And I was already stressed about the dogs.
Right.
Like, what are the dogs going to find?
Right. And so I get out of the TSA line, and I'm running through the terminal because I think I've got to get my checked bag back.
And we were halfway through line already.
Right. So I think I have to get my checked bag back so I can make sure there's no lithium batteries on there because the batteries I carry are about that thick.
They're huge.
They don't allow any lithium in stowage in the plane, and I carry like 14,500 milliamp batteries with me for my camera. So I was booking it trying to get back to the desk. And I got about halfway through the terminal back to the check-in desk, and I went, we shipped him home.
Oh. I'd never felt so relieved.
They're in the shipping box. Yeah, it was a bad time.
Real quick, Alice Osoko and our friends reminded me that was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a dork. Honestly, I'm aware, but it's... I'm not that aware. So, thank you for enlightening
me. The 2017 Nissan Versa. It has seats. Comfort not guaranteed.
It has seats and seat belts. The 2017 Nissan Versa. It's street legal. Barely. So, yeah, somebody else up here about E3 said that E3 is moving to be more of an influencer fan convention.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I kind of think that that's the way of a lot of these types of events.
Yep.
But it doesn't help. I don't know. In the age of the internet, it's really hard to be what E3 is being. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that they're around, and I'm glad that it's kind of an outlet for a lot of game developers and big names and publishers and things like that. But you know, this was the right move, and I'm glad that they could make it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but whether or not they survive, like you said,
right?
I really do sympathize with them in that regard, because this is the only decision to make in this circumstance that we're in, and it might cost them. We'll see.
Yep.
You know, here's hoping. E3's been a name for a long time.
Yep. Here's hoping it's still a name in 2021.
Yeah.
That not every company pulls out and goes, we're not gonna play in your sandbox anymore.
Yeah. The headline the headline here says it'll be the first time since 1995 that there hasn't been an E3. So.
Yep. Which that's not entirely true. They're not doing the convention, but they are doing the same keynotes online only. And there's a couple conferences that are doing that. There's a couple different venues that are doing that same kind of thing where they TED has TED Talks that was supposed to take place this next month. They have postponed from like April 3rd or something like that to like July 26th, I want to say. And they said, and if we can't make the July 26th date work, we will provide all the talks for free online.
Nice.
And so...
Great move.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of that going on right now, which I think is a fantastic move.
I think my favorite thing that I've seen coming out of the COVID-19 flare up is a meme going around that says, "I guess we're about to find out which meetings could have been emails after all."
That's my favorite one. It's my favorite one.
Because this is, I think anybody literally like under 40 knows how many freaking meetings you go to in a week or in a month that literally could have been summed up in an email. I've gone to meetings.
Have no idea.
Oh, I might. I've gone to entire meetings that have literally just been like, well, you all read the email, and we all shake our head. They have to sign a piece of paper, and we go on our way. And it's like, I drove for this?
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to do a conference call? Yep. You didn't want to do a Skype call?
Yep.
Like, you didn't... Oh, man. Like,
in my company, you have no idea. You have no idea.
I can't imagine what
the
it's
bureaucracy
like
involved in my company.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of hope that if there is one takeaway from this, from the whole disease epidemic that's going on, is that remote workers are invaluable. Mm-hmm. That there is no reason to not have remote workers if you have the infrastructure for it. Mm-hmm. And that meetings are stupid. And also everything else about the world sucks, and that we should just not do it that way anymore.
Yep. I hope we learn.
I think we will. I think we'll get there.
Yeah. Eventually.
We're moving on up.
Eventually.
Now this one's crazy. Tom Hanks and his wife Rita
both test positive for coronavirus. Yeah. They were down in Australia for what were they down there for? It was the unveil of the Elvis Presley movie.
Oh.
Yeah, this is literally like 3 hours before the show started. Tom Hanks published a note to social media Wednesday saying the couple came down with cold-like symptoms in Australia, prompting them to go get tested. Quote, well, now what do we do next? We Hanks will be tested, observed, and isolated for as long as public health and safety requires. Not much more to say than one day at a time approach, no? Sorry, here's the beginning of the tweet that he actually posted. Hello, folks. Reading
it's an Insta.
Yeah. Insta. My bad. It was also posted on Twitter. I will say.
That's fair.
It's also posted on Twitter.
Very reasonable.
Hello, folks. Rita and I are down in Australia. We felt a bit tired, like we had colds and some body aches. Rita had some chills, and that came and went. Slight fevers, too. To play things right, we needed... to play things right, as needed in the world right now, we were tested for the coronavirus and were found to be positive. Well, now what next to do? The medical officials have protocols that must be followed. We Hanks will be tested, observed, and isolated for as long as public health and safety requires. Not much more to do. Not much more to it than a one day at a time approach. No, we will keep the world posted and updated. Take care of yourselves, Hanks.
You know, I hope they're okay.
Yeah, totally.
You know, the real unfortunate thing is if you imagine they're in Australia, they get tested positive for this. They're not flying home, probably. But unfortunately, the Hankses and, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson are affluent enough that they can just sit and stay put in Australia and not be a big deal. And unfortunately, that's not the case for a lot of us. So we got to make the best out of what we can. But even if you are in the U.S. and testing is not as prevalent as it should be, it is not.
Not to make it political, but
I mean, not to make it political, but like seriously, our government has fumbled.
Right. And is intentionally not making it available.
And it's going to cost us citizens dearly, likely. So, again, if you can't get tested, if you start feeling those cold-like symptoms, coughing, fever even, anything like that.
There's a little bit left if you want to take what's left.
I'll get on that. Thank you. I love Elysian.
Elysian's Def Leppard.
Wow, look how generous Jeff is. Okay.
You have to drive.
I know. He knows that I'm a lightweight.
Yes.
Ever since finding out I was going to be a father, I with my wife in solidarity drank less alcohol. Not my wife drank no alcohol. I drank less alcohol. Yeah. And it cost me. It cost me a decade worth of tolerance.
He's now 3 drinks lower than he used to be.
Oh God, easily. Dude, we came to your party last week, and after like one cocktail, it was like, where are we? What are we doing?
Yeah, your wife had one cocktail, and she was pretty loose at the end of the night.
Yeah, she told me, she's like, I think I'm not going to be able to feed the baby when I get home.
I have another story I'll tell you afterwards.
Sure. So moving on from Tom Hanks, the NCAA hoops tournament is going to be played without fans.
Right.
So this is the future of sports, y'all. We don't even need to go.
Right. Actually, I have a story kind of like that. So I was an Oregon football season ticket holder for 6 years. 6 years leading up to their first Rose Bowl berth in, what was it, 2010, I want to say. We went to one of the bowl games. I mean, me and my wife were very invested, but you could get a pair of tickets in general admission for $450 all in. And I went, you know what? That's a great way to spend 7 Saturdays a year. Drive down to Eugene, taking the festivities and whatnot. And you know, it's a blast. It's a great atmosphere to be in, and we had a lot of fun with it. Even my wife, who's not really a football fan, you know, she would go to 4 to 6 games a year with me, and then I take friends to a couple others. And it was great. Until they made the Rose Bowl, and the University of Oregon raised that $450 ticket price first to $1050 and then to $1250 for the same seats that I already had.
Yeah.
And I stepped back and I went, you know what? $1,250 buys me a really nice TV.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yep. And I don't have to go up 7 Saturdays a year.
You know, honestly, this is what blows my mind. It's like, you know, there's nothing quite like the camaraderie of being in a stadium and like enjoying the ebb and flow of a competition like that with people of like mind.
Right.
However, there's also nothing like watching a sporting event from your couch and you see everything. Yeah. You see the details.
Yes.
And you get to watch the replays.
You get the benefit of replay. You can listen to the radio if you want.
Oh, God.
And Jerry Allen is just, oh, God.
And, you know, look, if you're a Blazers fan, I mean, you know, not so much anymore, but like you got Brian Wheeler on the radio.
Not to disparage Travis Demers. I think he's done
he's done great. He's done great, but oh my God!
But like, Brian Wheeler was the best in the business.
So, dude, I'd be watching the freaking the games on.
Brian
TV.
Wheeler is not a personality I want to follow ever.
No, ever. I'd be watching the games on TV on mute with Brian Wheeler in the background. I mean, that's just the only way you can do it.
Right. Although I will say Kevin Calabro is a freaking masterpiece too. Yeah.
But no, this is an interesting take that they are going to play these tournaments without fans. Again, I reiterate, I personally believe this is the only move to make. Now, maybe not the best for players because there's a possibility that they get exposed and that they're going to expose other players.
Yeah.
But whatever, if you want to keep it going, this is the way to do it. I don't know, maybe I'd be interested to see what sort of effect this has on the games too. Yeah. Because when you consider things like, sorry, Steve's comment made me laugh. When you consider things like home field advantage and things like that, you were talking about the crowd. You were not talking about oh, I'm used to the way the floorboards bounce the ball when I dribble over here.
Yeah.
No, you're talking about the crowd cheering you on when you're up and when you're down.
I can't wait to hear actually what the players are saying on the court because there's no crowd noise.
Oh,
God! Yeah, I can't wait for that. That's what I'm excited for.
That's gonna be great.
So the NCAA has already stated that the NCAA tournament games, which start next Thursday, or next Wednesday, I believe, because Wednesday is the play-in games, or Tuesday is the play-in games, because there's 16 versus 16, 16 versus 16. There's also a 12-8 or something like that.
Sure.
So two 12-8s and two 16-16s to play in, which never made any sense to me. But none of the games will have fans in the stadium. They will allow family to come in if they've traveled for the game, and limited special participants. And that's it. Beyond that, no non-essential personnel. So they'll be playing to like a crowd of like 40 people, which is just weird. It turns the game into a practice. There's no energy. You're not firing up the crowd. You're not doing all those kind of things. There's no reactions to threes. Or blocks or defensive stands.
But I wonder too how much that, again, if you're considering how much that the fans can sort of like rejuvenate you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking both ways.
Mm-hmm.
How much if you're down?
Right.
I wonder, like, can you bounce back more without the fans just like being like boo?
Right.
Maybe. But then again, it goes both ways because you're talking about like, I think it was Nurk the other day. Was saying after he came back, he's like, man, we were playing so poorly, like, I thought the fans were going to boo us. Nurk was saying this when he came back. He's like, I thought the fans were going to boo us. They never booed us. I was like, welcome to Portland, Nurk. Where have you been?
Yeah.
We don't boo our players.
Right. Well, there was like 1 year. But
sure, whatever.
It was bad.
We don't talk about
it. But anyway, the NCAA also issued a statement to conferences and individual universities this week that strongly recommended they do the same thing for the conference tournaments that are happening now.
Good.
Good. So the ACC tournament started on Monday, and a couple others. The Pac-12 I know started yesterday. Started today with quite a few games going on, and there were plenty of fans in the crowd. Probably 10,000 people. It certainly wasn't as widely attended as it has been in the past, but there was a good number of people in the stands. They recommended that starting tomorrow, you give refunds for tickets and play your games.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be a weird way, depending on how the conferences and individual universities want to handle this. But yeah, the March Madness will be played, but it will be played without a live studio audience.
Only one way to tell how that's going to go. Yep. And again, I've been saying it all night, it's the right decision to make.
Right.
So unfortunately, we are looking at these sort of economic disruptions, but you're looking at the unknown with a novel virus.
Right,
so,
totally. And speaking of basketball, the NBA, there was a piece pretty critical of the NBA posted by SB Nation that the NBA's coronavirus response is making an easy decision difficult. And they were talking about banning fans from the arenas. Basically, the owners had just now recently started to talk about how do we want to handle this? Do we want to play to empty crowds?
Yeah.
And in fact, because of California's ban on gatherings of 1,000 or more, the Warriors and Wizards played a game to an empty house earlier today. But the owner said, we are in favor of continuing the season as is and playing to an empty house, keeping the games on TV.
Yeah.
And we'll continue the season as usual. Until something that happened today.
Yeah. Like hours ago, the story broke.
I
thought I beat Jeff to it.
At 7 o'clock today, I watched unfold live on Twitter. There was supposed to be a tip-off, it was at 6 o'clock, excuse me, at 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock Pacific time, local time to me today. The Oklahoma City Thunder were hosting the Utah Jazz. And they all went through pregame warm-ups, shoot-around, everything else. Went back to the locker rooms, got suited up, came out in their jerseys. There was introductions. There was everything else. Teams went to their benches. You got your starting 5 for each team out on the floor. The ref comes out with the ball and is standing at center court with the ball ready to tip off with the lasers going and everything else. And all of a sudden, an NBA spokesperson or an NBA official, not a referee, but an official from the sideline, waves at the ref, walks to center court, tells the referee something. The referee then walks to the scorer's table, calls the other refs and the 2 coaches over, and tells them something. And they're discussing this thing for a couple of minutes. And then the coaches lead the teams off the floor. Like they were like ready, okay, oh stop, like they were there for tip off, and all of a sudden it was just dead stop. Everyone go to your locker room, which took a couple of minutes to like come to that decision that everyone needs to go to the locker rooms.
Probably not an easy one.
Right. The PA announcer said, "We're trying to get information. We're waiting for confirmation from the NBA that we can start the game," is what he said. And so there's a couple more like weird tense minutes in there. And then the PA announcer comes on and says, I have an announcement. I am sorry, folks. Today's game has been postponed. You're not in any danger. Take your time leaving the facility, and I hope you have a wonderful night, and you'll come back when we were able to get this game on. And there were a lot of boos and people, obviously upset. And there was no information given at the time. And in fact, it took almost 2 full hours for information to come out. The immediate thought is obviously coronavirus. Is something happened with coronavirus that required the NBA to act? And in fact, that is exactly what happened. Statement from the NBA, and I quote, March 11th, 2020, the NBA announced that a player on the Utah Jazz has preliminarily tested positive for COVID-19. The test results were reported shortly before tip-off of tonight's game between the Utah Jazz and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Shortly before, as in literally seconds before tip-off. At that time, tonight's game was canceled. The affected player was not in the arena. The NBA is suspending play following the conclusion of tonight's scheduled games until further notice. The NBA will use this hiatus to determine their next steps moving forward in regard to the coronavirus pandemic, end quote. That player turns out to be Rudy Gobert, the center for the Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz All-Star Rudy Gobert has tested positive for coronavirus, sources tell The Athletic NBA and at Stadium. This is from Shams Charania Twitter account. Sources say Gobert is feeling good, strong, and stable, and was feeling strong enough to play tonight. But he has indeed tested positive for the coronavirus.
Well, and I wonder what the context of this tweet is made in. Mm-hmm. Is it early in the infection? Mm-hmm. In the sense that they say that it takes about 5 days before it really sets in.
He has been out with an illness for, I believe he sat up the last game, and then he was out with an illness today as well.
So maybe he's been sick for a while and he's coming out of it.
Right.
Or maybe these NBA players are just ballers and they're like, yo, we play with colds all the time.
Right. And they do. They absolutely do.
So, well, still, there's only one move that you can make. And it's hard to say, but obviously if this guy has it, his team is likely
his team has been exposed.
Yeah.
Right.
Which means now that, there's a possibility that it might have spread to others. Not super high. Not super high. But.
So when this referee conference was happening, when this huddle group was happening with coaches and the officials, I guess Chris Paul ran over to the Utah bench and say, "What's going on with Rudy? Is Rudy okay?" And he was told, "You need to back up. You need to get away."
Oh.
Which is not a good thing to hear when you're asking how is Rudy.
Yeah.
So Chris Paul was definitely concerned about the health. And when they got to the locker room, the players were actually quarantined in the locker room and administered COVID tests right there. Every single player, every single coach, every single assistant, every single bit of the team personnel is being administered.
I'm glad they got tests for the NBA.
Right. Right. At least they can get tests. So kind of a scary situation there.
Yeah.
And but as a result, the NBA has canceled play indefinitely.
Good.
Which kind of bums me out because Nurkic was supposed to come back on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I know Nurkic is bummed because he posted on Twitter.
Didn't he come back?
No, he was due back on Sunday.
Oh.
He was down in San Jose, and he was going through a full practice shoot around.
I saw him going through practice.
with a G League team, with the G League Warriors.
When I see him, that's I guess I was thinking Dame with his ankle injury or whatever. He was
now Dame is back
last Wednesday. Or whatever.
Yeah, that was a groin injury. Yeah. Nurkic is the leg. Zach Collins is the separated shoulder, and then Rodney Hood is the, what did he have? He had a torn Achilles. That's right, torn Achilles.
That sucks.
I guess Rodney is doing well. He's not going to be back this season, but he will be back next season, and we could see Zach Collins as soon as the middle of April.
Nice.
So final playoff push and getting into the playoffs.
Not anymore, but yeah.
Right. We'll see what this season does. Yeah.
So this next one is pretty big news because this has almost never happened.
Yeah.
President Trump issues a travel ban between the U.S. and Europe.
That's right.
Excluding
the UK. You can still travel from the U.S. to the UK.
Oh, good.
But nowhere else. Right.
Oh, good. And that's only because the
Spain,
UK,
France, you're all cut off.
Yeah. Maybe it's because they're no longer part of the EU or they're not planning on being a part of the EU. I don't know. But beginning Friday, due to the spread of coronavirus...
We only like traveling to independent nations.
Yeah, we like to go to not crap nations, not crap hole nations.
Yeah. Spain.
I mean... Just kidding. I love Spain.
Don't do that.
I love Spain.
Don't do that.
Barcelona is like my favorite European city of all time. I know everybody in Spain's like, "Yo, what up, dude?
What the crap, man?
What up, dude?" No, I spent like several weeks in Barcelona.
I don't think that's your accent. I apologize.
No, that's me doing just an accent of people calling me out.
Yeah.
In general, generalized, antagonistic.
Yes.
Accent.
Bro's bro.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro accent. A bro accent. President Donald Trump has issued
corona bro.
A bro corona.
If you will.
I will, yes. Anyway, the travel ban starts Friday.
Travel ban starting Friday includes all European countries minus the UK. It is unknown why the UK was singled out, as there have been 458 cases there, which is more than the entire United States combined.
Yeah, this is the unfortunate thing about our
Well, sorry, there's been 145 cases in the US, but only because we've administered 145 tests.
Yeah, there's likely a lot more.
Yeah.
Oregon has like 9 confirmed right now, including Marion County.
Including Polk County.
So, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yep.
Unfortunately, this is an example of our administration dropping the ball in this regard. 2 years ago, this administration defunded the CDC's pandemic response team, and this is the result. I don't care where you fall on the political spectrum. This is not an issue of partisanship, left versus right. This is an issue of like what is best for the people, and right now, this is not what's best for us. Mm-hmm. What is best for us is to, let's limit travel, sure. Yeah. But if we're gonna, why is the UK not allowed?
Yeah. Why can I still fly to Japan?
Why can I still fly to literally anywhere?
Yeah.
There is a lot of economic uncertainty.
Yes.
That is for sure. And there's been rumors that airlines are prepping to keep their flights going.
Can still book a flight to China. Exactly right.
Again, the moves that the administration are making do not make sense and do not have your best interests at heart. And I don't even know if the travel ban is the correct move to make. I really can't say whether, because I didn't see this coming. I just assumed that people that didn't want to catch the disease wouldn't fly to Italy.
Well, I think the reason they issued the travel ban is all of a sudden you can get a flight to Spain for $200.
But that's not even necessarily true.
Right.
Like, I was looking at flights just to see myself, and it's like, the flights are still kind of average price.
Right.
Like, I know that they're starting to dip, for sure.
Yeah. Well, especially regionally and as far as North America goes, I could fly to Seattle for $20. It costs more than $20 in gas to drive to Seattle, and I could fly there for $20 right now from Portland. I could also fly, I think, to Vegas for like $45 or $50. Now it's one way, but usually that flight's like $140. Is what I paid the last 3 times that I've been there. So all of a sudden you're $45.
Yeah, okay, let's go for it.
Well, the buffets are closed, but I can still, you know.
I don't know if I'd want to go to the buffets even if they were open.
Right.
Don Jude says, you don't have to be so politically correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, screw them if they can't take a joke. It's not about whether or not they can take a joke. I'm not trying to alienate people that are worried about their safety.
Right.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people that are very scared about this whole thing. You know, me included. I'm not trying to take this whole thing lightly.
Right.
I'm not losing sleep over it, but at the same time, I'm doing my best here not to touch my face.
Right. I also understand the risks.
I got in an argument today with somebody who was technically my superior at work because they wanted to shake my hand. And I said, hey, you know, everything going around, I got a newborn at home. I don't want to.
Right.
And they got mad at me.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to make those people mad, but the truth of the matter is we got to be thinking about how to stop this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that starts, you know, from the top down. You know, unfortunately, there's a lot of us that know how to parcel through the news and how to parcel through the things that are best for us to practice. But there are a lot of people that don't know how to do those things. And they rely on the top-down approach to learn what it is they need to do, what it is they need to avoid.
And they're the ones cleaning Costco out of toilet paper and bottled water right now.
Right, yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, we do not have the guidance from the top down that we need right now. And worse, we don't have the sort of infrastructure in place to deal with this right now. You know,
one guy was saying, I know he lives in Chicago area. He was looking at flights to Boston, $75 round trip. Right. Like I said, I can get from here to Vegas for $45 right now. $90 round trip.
I must be totally wrong because I was looking at flights the other day and it was like flights because I was looking at like Spain and like France, Germany.
Yeah.
And it was still like pretty high. Maybe I wasn't looking regional. I did look at a flight to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And it was cheaper, but it was still like, ugh.
It's still like $250.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe I just wasn't looking on the right day because this again was probably a week ago. Yeah, Oregon count is 19, not 9.
Yep.
My bad.
Our longest borders are California and Washington, which has the highest number of confirmed cases. It's actually because those are the international airports that people fly out of to go to Asian countries.
Yeah. People are going to Seattle. People are going to LAX.
Right. LAX and SFO.
Yeah, true.
Right.
SFO is huge.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Portland is an international airport, but it's not nearly as large as SeaTac or.
I mean, if you're booking a flight
LAX.
out of PDX to go to, for example, I flew to Tokyo a few years ago, and our flight flew. We skipped SeaTac, but we went to Vancouver.
Right.
But other flights that I've gone to have been out of SeaTac, so we fly from PDX to SeaTac, and then wherever we got to go.
Right.
Or we fly to PDX to LAX, and then wherever we got to go.
Yeah. If you fly to Taiwan, you go SFO and then over.
Right.
So
yeah. Big Spoon says 292 round trip to Vancouver, Canada from Cali. See, that's kind of what I was expecting. That's kind of normal, but maybe that's because it's Canada. I don't know. Maybe it's Canada. Maybe I'm not looking at the regional trips. But still, this being said, here this is everything you gotta know about what's going on right here in this one line. Trump blames the European Union.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in the show notes, I did post a link to a website that you might want to keep in mind called isitcanceledyet.com.
Ooh,
and basically what it is any major event that is canceled will be posted on there if it's canceled for the coronavirus. And it will have links to relevant sources of information of what are their mitigating plans, or what are their future plans, or are they going to cancel and they'll reappear next year. And it's everything from music festivals and film festivals to the NBA to MLB to everything else. In our area, today was announced that University of Oregon and Oregon State University, they have said that starting tomorrow, no classes will be held on campus. They will be online-only classes. Finals next week will be taken online only, and then at least the first 3 weeks of the next term will be online only. So they're trying to get people to stay in their homes, stay in their dorm rooms, stay in their apartments, and not spread this thing around. And I saw Kentucky and Kansas did the same thing, gave essentially the same exact statement. So,
and we're going to be seeing more of that.
Right. This is getting bigger. This is starting to affect not just large organizations, but it's starting to trickle down to the smaller organizations, and it's going to keep getting smaller.
Yeah.
Until this thing is contained. So, yeah, it's. I don't want to call it quite scary yet, but it's definitely concerning.
Concerning is the right word, and that's what it should be.
Right.
Everything that is being reported, if the numbers and everything are accurate, it is concerning. But it's not the world-ending thing that we're all seeing in movies like Contagion or books like Station 11 or whatever.
Right.
It's it's a disease, and it's serious for many, many people in our population, and it spreads very easily. However, take precautions, be smart, stay home if you're sick. This sucks for the people that can't afford that.
Yes.
But again,
I'm lucky enough to have a job where I have 4 weeks vacation and 2.5 weeks of sick leave every year. I can take the time off if I really wanted to.
It's like me and my wife are very lucky that we're on parental leave right now. So it's like I don't necessarily have to worry about this nearly as much. I go to this grocery store, I buy stuff. I get a little overzealous. I disinfect the stuff I buy with some Clorox wipes, and then I wash my hands, and I'm good to go. Just be cognizant of, I just did it just now because my freaking face itches and I can't help it, but touching your face, we all touch our face like 40 times an hour or some garbage. However, it's proven that if you wash your hands at least 5 times a day, you cut your you cut your chance of catching a communicable disease by up to 50%.
Yeah.
Wash your hands, soap and water, 20 seconds at a time. 20 seconds is key. Do some scrubbing. You're all good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ain't no rest for the wicked.
Yeah.
Money don't grow on trees.
There's a lot of memes going around about songs that
I got bills to pay, got mouths to feed.
I saw Lizzo on one,
Nothing but this wealth for free.
I do my hair tall, check my nails. Baby, how you doing? Hair tall. Yeah.
Great point, or not really a great point. Didn't they say it's just at worst a stronger flu? I feel like the media is hyping it up. The problem is the standard flu has about a 0.8% mortality rate, normally targeted at infants and the elderly or immunocompromised. This is actually not that bad in kids, but it is especially targeting people who are over the age of 60 or immunocompromised or have diabetes or have heart or lung problems.
Yeah.
The mortality rate is somewhere between 4 and 6%. I mean, it's a pretty drastic number. Think about if you catch this, you have a 6% chance of dying. I don't like those odds when I'm gambling.
Right.
And I'm risking losing $6.
Right.
I certainly don't like those odds with whether or not I'm going to be able to see my kids grow up.
Yeah.
And I'm not elderly, but I do have some heart issues that have been diagnosed. I certainly don't want it. I don't want to risk it.
Right.
You've got a newborn at home, and while the mortality rate is even low for newborns, it's still a mortality rate.
Yeah. Yeah, and we just talked with our pediatrician and everything, and they say you probably don't have anything to worry about. And that's great to hear. And truth be told, yeah, at this point, based on the numbers, it's like, yes, the flu kills more people annually than this might kill this year. But that's not the point. The point is that it's a novel thing. It's new. It is scary. And, just because the media is hyping it up, I don't know. I can't say for sure.
It also spreads kind of quietly because you can go 5 to 14 days asymptomatic carrying this before you develop symptoms. You could be spreading it for up to 2 weeks before you know you're affected.
Yeah.
And how many places do you go in 2 weeks? Just think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about how many people you come into contact with in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
That's why it's concerning. It is, and you might get a very mild case and be a carrier and never get symptoms. You can still pass it on to someone who's immunocompromised or someone who's elderly or someone who, has harder lung problems or diabetic or whatever, and it can seriously affect their chances at life. It's kind of shocking.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, and this is the type of stuff that my wife studied and has a master's degree in.
Mm-hmm.
And she's keeping her eye on the whole thing, because it is history in the making. It's like
she's one of those 24-year-olds. I got a master's degree.
Yeah,
she's smarter than all of us combined.
Yeah, I know. That's why I get to sit here and talk on a cool show. She's out there doing the real work.
I should just bring your wife on the show sometime.
Probably. Then everyone's going to be like, don't bring Rhett back. Look, the only advantage I have in life is when I go places without my wife and people like me. The moment I bring my wife around, I'm like yesterday's dinner. I'm old.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Like all my friends are like, dude, that's really, so is Bailey coming?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I thought we were friends.
Bro. All of a sudden, the bro antagonist comes back.
But, anyway, 09 team is being ridiculous. Stay away from most of the nasty Chinese food. That's not real.
That's so stupid. The thing is, I eat more Asian food than anything else. I love teriyaki and Chinese food and, Vietnamese food, and it's all good.
Yeah.
I've eaten there so much in the last month. I think because I've been thinking of Asia a little bit more, and all of a sudden I'm going, you know what? I feel like teriyaki today. Yeah. You don't get it from the food, dumbass. Yeah. You don't. Stop it.
Elevated symptoms says flu mortality 0.01%, coronavirus mortality 1%. When I say that it's on track to kill more people, I'm talking about annually. Annually, the flu kills about 60,000 people per year. Mm-hmm. If coronavirus keeps up right now, it's not going to reach that. However, that's not a guarantee. It's a novel virus. You look at things like how the Spanish flu spread and how it took a dip in the summer and came back and just like obliterated a quarter of the population of the planet.
Right. And I love that people go, well, the Black Plague, went away without a vaccine. Yeah, it also killed a third of Europe.
Yeah. Wow, great point you just proved. The guy on the left needs to talk into the microphone, not away from it. Serial Thriller, where were you? Why couldn't you tell me this 2 hours ago?
That's you.
I know it's me. That's what I'm saying. Why can't you tell me that?
I haven't brought it closer to him. He's not talking quiet, I can tell you that much.
I know. I can talk louder, though. Anyway, this all to say that people are making the right decisions to postpone things, and you got to take it seriously. If you think the media is overhyping it and that somehow propels you to go out into the store and cough into everybody's produce, I don't know what's wrong with you. If you think the media is overhyping it, then just do what you need to do and wash your hands and don't touch your face and don't go into work sick.
Yep. Yeah.
Do not
go into work sick right now. If you have a cold, stay home. I don't care if you're in, the boss says I need to show up. Do everyone a favor and stay home. Seriously. Yeah. That's the message from tonight. This is getting bigger. And it's concerning. Yeah. It's reached the level where it has my full attention. I'm not scared yet. I'm not barricading my home. I'm not inviting Rhett into my home. But at the same time, I'm concerned. I've got a 2 and a 7-year-old as well, and I have a wife who has some health complications. It's not a fun time to be a dad right now. So I'm concerned.
Yeah. A whole country is shut down.
Yeah.
And suspended mortgage payments.
Yeah.
So, it's okay to take it a little seriously. That's fine.
Yep. Anyway, it's 10:15. I think that's about time to call it a show.
I'd say so.
So thank you all so much for watching episode 123 of Craft Computing. Talking Heads, I should say. Talking Heads here on Craft Computing. Join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Craft Computing to keep up with my daily shenanigans. Follow Rhett on Twitter at RhettIsAwesome or at Game Devs Quest. If you're interested in game development from the very basic level to the advanced, give Game Devs Quest a look. He's probably got the resources you're looking for. Anything up and coming on the calendar? Have you...
No, unfortunately not. We're going a little slower since the birth of my newborn child. Apparently, that's a big deal.
Oh, sure, throw that in my face again. It's always, I have a son. I have a son.
What can I say? It takes a man to have a son.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. My history teacher said that to me once, and he had only daughters. So
yeah,
I was just joking. That's it.
Ooh.
The joke doesn't work when you have a son and you're talking to somebody.
And I have 2 daughters.
Ooh. Oh, bad joke. Anyway, I'll never be back because I'm fired.
As long as you don't bring Bud Light Lemonade on the show, you're welcome back anytime you want.
Oh, perfect.
Anytime
then I'll be here.
And that goes for everyone who doesn't bring Bud Light Lemonade on the show.
Excellent.
So,
before we sign off, 09 Team is crazy, and he says coronavirus is from 430 light years away. Guys, that's this week's episode of Talking Heads.
And someone says, Picard! Yeah, did you not notice my shirt? Like, no one pointed out my shirt.
A bunch of people at the start said, now I need that shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's freaking awesome. I will put an Amazon affiliate link down in the video description. So I got this shirt for my birthday. My wife found it, and my daughter wanted to get me this shirt for my birthday.
Perfect.
She didn't understand the joke. She says, Mom, why are you laughing? And she goes, because Daddy will love that shirt.
Nice.
Well, if you say so... So she spent her money on this shirt.
Nice.
And I freaking love this shirt.
That's amazing. Good choice.
She so my wife hands me the shirt, or actually she had my 2-year-old running with it, and happy birthday, Daddy. And it's like, oh, I love you. And so I picked up the shirt, and she goes, I wasn't sure if you'd like this one. I said, are you freaking kidding me?
Nice.
That's amazing.
That is great.
And I said, not only am I going to wear it on the show on Wednesday, I'm going to wear it all day Wednesday.
Nice.
So
nice.
My new shirt.
That's awesome.
Yep. So. Yes, if you want to buy this shirt, very shortly after this video goes live, I will post an affiliate link to it. I would appreciate you clicking on that, because every dollar you spend does help keep the lights on this channel. And helps me restock the fridge.
It does.
There's a reason my fridge is full of nothing but good stuff, and John buys Bud Light Orange. Not calling anyone out, though. So. Anyway... I was waiting for you to talk about Picard before mentioning the shirt. Oh, yeah. Have you caught up with Picard at all?
No.
Okay. I will go very quickly through last week's episode. Are you ready for a spoiler cast? Let's hit it. So we see Girardi dealing with the aftermath of killing Bruce Maddox. She is distraught. She is... I mean, that was her husband or lover at the very least. We don't know. And we finally see some of the conversation that happened between her and the constable back on Earth. And the constable gave her a tracking chip, which she then ingested. And so she is basically a human beacon, a human tracking beacon. We see Soji and Picard travel to the planet where Riker and Troy are staying, called Nepenthe, something like that. And they went there, and we find out that not only do they have one kid, they have 2 kids. But the reason they're on Nepenthe and not still serving in Starfleet is their oldest child, Thad, came down with a silicon-based virus that eventually killed him. And the reason it killed him wasn't because they didn't have the technology to save him. It's because of the synth ban. They couldn't develop positronic nets where if he was in a positronic net, they could have treated him. But they're not allowed to do those anymore because of the synth ban, and so they had to watch their son die. Now, Nepenthe has a history of, like, refueling and refurbishing and things like that. Like, anything you want to plant there grows. Anything you want to do there does well. It's kind of like a healing planet. And We see a little bit from Soji that she doesn't trust Picard. She doesn't trust anyone because the one person she'd like get close to her tried to betray her and kill her, and that's the Romulan dude that was sleeping with her and then tried to kill her with the radiation when she escaped on the Borg cube. But she tells Troy straight out, I don't trust Picard, and the way you're treating me right now, it makes me trust you even less because you're being nice to me. It feels like you need something from me, you want something from me, and you're going to betray me. And so that's her mindset right now moving forward. Yeah, we fast forward to the end of the episode, and we see Picard and Hugh trying to get Soji off the cube, and they assimilated this technology that we first saw in Voyager. I forget the species name, but they had this dimensional portal, essentially, that could travel up to 40,000 light years. So it's a transporter with a 40,000 light year range. So that's how they eventually get away. That was the episode before.
Come on now.
Sorry.
Get with it.
Yeah. Sorry. We leave the episode with Elnor basically working with Hugh to figure out how to lock down the door and trying to like get out of there with Hugh when the Romulan brother sister lady walks.
Don't look at me, I don't know.
Right. Brother sister lady. I'm not making that up. So she walks down and says, "Oh, Hugh, you helped them escape. Now I get to kill you because you violated the treaty." And so she's trying to kill Hugh, but Elnor's having none of it, and he goes all Matrix Ninja shit on all of her soldiers. Obviously kills every one of them but her. She eventually gets a dagger out, throws it at Hugh, hits him in the neck. Hugh dies. And when that happened, I went, "Aw." And my wife goes, "You knew they were going to kill him." I went, "I know, but that one hurts. That one hurts." Next Level Tech, thumbs up. Thank you. $1.99 donation. I appreciate it, buddy. Here's to you. So Hugh dies. Elnor gets away, and he's hiding in the Borg cube somewhere, and he finds this dangly thing hanging down, and I went, "Where have I seen that before?" And so I rewound and I looked at that thing and I said, "Where have I seen that? I've seen this in the series before." Oh, Picard gave 7 of 9 a beacon that you could press on and it would alert the other person that you needed help. I don't know how that beacon got there, but it's there, and I don't know if they'll explain it in the next episode or not. But we see a preview of the next episode of 7 of 9 coming back. And if you thought she was pissed in episode 4, she looks even more pissed in episode 7. So that's kind of where they leave us.
Nice.
And Picard and Soji leave with Ramos and the ragtag crew of do-gooders. And they jet off towards their next destination. And that's kind of where we leave it. So...
How many more episodes are there going to be?
3 more. 7, 8, 9, 10. Or sorry, 4 more.
Then I can watch it.
Then you can watch it. Yeah. Do you need a hookup?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
We talked about this last time.
I'll hook you up.
Okay. Okay.
I will definitely hook you up.
Cool.
Yep. All right, and that is going to do it for episode 123 of Talking Heads here on Craft Computing. Make sure to subscribe. Link is right down there below. Hit the like button while you're down there. And visit the video description for any articles that we covered to get some more in-depth information. And if you want this shirt, I will post an Amazon affiliate link probably by morning. I don't know that I'm going to do it right now. But follow me on Twitter. Follow Rhett on Twitter. And as always, we'll see you next week. Cheers, guys.